All right, class, raise your hand if you are a witch who has heard of the Lesser Banishing Ritual of the Pentagram. Now, raise your hand if you identify as a witch and have actually performed the LBRP. Yeah, That's a lot less of you. Truthfully, lots of witches today don't know this ritual exists. And of the ones who do, many don't think that it can be useful for them. I am here today to show you an adapted version that you might just love. A witch's LBRP. Laurelei Black here from Blade and Broom. This is basically like your witchy aunt's secret garden cottage, where we chat about witchcraft, and especially traditional witchcraft. If you are new here, please click subscribe and click on the notifications. It really helps the channel out. And if you are returning, welcome back. I've got a Patreon for the channel, as well as a link tree to help people figure out what it is that I am getting up to with witchcraft writing and projects, and there is a lot going on. So those links are both in the description box below, as well as links for the resources that are mentioned throughout today's video. So always check that description box to see what's going on. I think it's time to put something in the teacup and start talking about this lesser banishing ritual business and get a demo going. Let's get started. Okay, so according to Thalamopedia, the greater and lesser rituals of the Pentagram originated with the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn and are fundamental rituals for thelema and ceremonial magic. They are usually performed in order to banish chaotic, unwanted, uninvited, or negative energies from both the working space and from within the awareness of the practitioner themselves. So you'll note, I think, that the formal name doesn't actually include the word banishing in it, even though really the common name that these rituals are known by is the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram, the greater banishing ritual of the pentagram. We call them the LBRP. That's the most common name that you're going to hear for it, but the ritual is actually called the lesser ritual of the pentagram. Even so, I'm still going to keep calling it the LBRP, or the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram, because some habits are really hard to break. The reason that that banishing gets put in there all of the time for most people is because banishing is really the primary function of what this ritual and sort of the class of ritual that this is part of. It's what it does. So most people lump it in there, and the acronym is LBRP. So I am quoting now from Graham John Wheeler's article in Correspondence's Journal, which came out in 2020. Link down below. The LBRP was the only ritual that was revealed to members of the Golden Dawn's first or outer order, which prepared members for entry into the more exclusive second or inner order. The LBRP was the nearest thing to a purely magical ritual found within the first order curriculum. It was disclosed to neophytes, beginners, immediately after their initiation, in order that they may have protection against opposing forces, and also that they may form some idea of how to attract and to come into communication with spiritual and invisible things. Members were counseled to perform the ritual in the evening. A slightly different version, geared to invoking rather than banishing, was to be performed in the morning. In addition to daily performances of the LBRP, Golden Dawn initiates were recommended to use the ritual for cleansing before a magical operation, as a protection against impure magnetism, and as part of a technique to get rid of obsessing or disturbing thoughts. They were also told to visualize themselves performing it as an exercise in meditation. These are the purposes, ostensibly, of the LBRP. It clears the space, clears the mind, sets the mill grounds as ready for work. With flaming pentagrams at the quarters, which in my tradition we call gates, watchtowers raised at the cross quarters, we call those watchtowers castles, and hexagrams above and below. And the one I'm going to show you, we have not 2 hexagrams, but we have a hexagram and a triskel. The space is clear and guarded. So let's talk about the version that I'm getting ready to share with you and to demonstrate for you. In the late winter and early spring of 2013, 3 American folkloric witches, one of which was me, undertook the task of adapting the traditional LBRP into a version that would be suitable and workable for witches in a traditional and folkloric practice. I think that a student of ceremonial magic will find that our version follows the same format of the original Golden Dawn LBRP. However, a traveler on the crooked path of the traditional witch will probably find that our version does a little bit more than cleanse and banish. It can actually serve as a compass laying ritual in its own right. The crossroads are called in, the watchtowers are built, the stang is raised within the body of the witch. The 3 realms are noted. It is a complete space. It is a complete casting. So, let's have a look. So, a couple of quick notes before I actually do the demo, all embodied. One is that when I am reaching above my head, what I'm envisioning here is a ball of light. Some people envision this as a ball of pure celestial light. Some, in our case, it would be possibly very prudent to envision it as witch fire. That could be an amalgamation of starfire and forge fire. Whatever makes sense for you and works in your cosmology is great. But the idea of light, of that illumination, that illuminating source, that's what we're looking for here. So we're not just reaching up, but we're bringing it into us at different points. So we're bringing it to our crown, the serpent that's coiled at the base of our spine, at the base of our pelvis, into both the right and the left. I get my right and my left confused. So into the right and the left, which are the centers of mercy and severity, and into the heart center there for blessing and fortune and balance. So we're creating this portion of this ritual of the LBRP is called the Kabbalistic Cross, and it relates very much to Tree of Life Kabbalistic symbolism. So if you dive into that at all, you're going to see a lot of correlations there, but it also works with a whole lot of witch cosmologies. So I hope that it resonates with you when you see it and that it makes sense for you. We have changed the names a bit. So again, to make sense for a witchcraft context. From there, we go into drawing the pentagrams, and that's going to be at the elemental gates, the quarters. The names that my tradition uses there are Goda in the south, Kolyo in the north. Those are 2 names that are very old and resonant for us, for faces of the Witch Mother. And then Lucifer in the east and Azazel in the west as titles of Tubal-Cain, the Witch Father, as that illuminator and the carrier of the red thread, the source of the red thread, as it were. So we do the pentagrams. You can do this with either sending that light, basically, that witch fire through your index finger, or through your whole hand. Again, depending on what feels better to you. And then I'm going to be doing something called the sign of the Enterer. And I know that, like my setup, you're not necessarily going to be able to see fully what that looks like. So I'm going to take a step back here so that I'm facing you while I do this. But basically, you start with your feet together. You put your hands to the sides of your forehead, and you're envisioning that entity that you've called, that power that you've called, stepping through a doorway that you've created as you open that doorway. So you step forward, open the doorway, and step back. And there they are. And then we do a sign for silence, universally recognized, as we move to the next point within our circle. You can do this just pivoting about yourself. You don't have to have very much space to do this ritual, or you can do it in a huge, giant field or clearing if you want to, where you're really moving all around. Following the pentagrams, there's going to be the call to the watchtowers, and there you're going to stand in the central space, and you're going to face the southeast, and you're going to open your arms so that you form a cross. And then you're going to say the things that you're going to say, basically, to welcome and acknowledge the watchtowers. We refer to them as castles. That should make absolute sense on some level. And you'll probably, if you're familiar with Arthurian legend, you're going to recognize the names that we use for those castles as well. And then you end this ritual as you began it, with the Kabbalistic cross. So, I've walked you through it. Now I'm going to show you how it's done. Corona. Serpens. Clementia. Severitas. Benedictiones. Lucifer. Goda. Azazel. Before me rises the castle of stone. Behind me, the castle of air. On my left hand, the castle of revelry, and on my right hand, the castle perilous. Around me flame the pentagrams. Above me shines a six-rayed star, and below me spins the silver triskel. I am the staying upon the hill. Corona, serpens, Clementia, Severitas, Benedictiones. That's all I have to say about that. I hope that that was informational and inspirational for you guys. I hope that you found this useful. I love being able to share ritual and practices with you, and I'm so excited to have a space where I can start to do that now. So please share with me the magic of that like button and tell your witchy friends that good stuff is happening here at Blade and Broom. And please, please share your comments, your thoughts, your questions down in the comments below. And if you are interested in adding information like this with classic woodcut styling and texturally rich printable pages to your book of art, I have a free 13-page mini grimoire available for you down in the description box. There's a link for you down below. You can just click on that and get to it. And I've got even more pages for you available in my Etsy shop, including the Witch's LBRP. All right, guys, I will see you back here next Monday with more witchy goodness. Bye, friends.